A growth mindset might be all you need in order to be successful. If you have this unwavering desire to grow as a human being, to become a better version of yourself, to learn from all experiences, then you will always get through your challenges. Why? Because you start to see life as this continuous opportunity to evolve. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Mindset Matters, the podcast where we choose to live with purpose and grow with intention. My name is Vic, your host. I am a psychology graduate, a teacher, and a certified life coach. My practice centers around helping young adults discover their passions and prioritize balanced routines so that they can live purposeful, balanced lives. You can check out my work, including my simple 3-step guide to getting unstuck and discovering your passions at mindsetmatterswithvic.com. I'm so excited to be back. I didn't take a break this time, but I did cut my hair. What do we think? Comment below. Just kidding. We're going to focus on a growth mindset. We don't care about my hair. We're going to talk about mindset today, specifically growth versus fixed mindset. Okay, the agenda, we're going to look at characteristics of each. You are going to become very self-aware, and you're going to sink in. You're going to say, what is true for me? Do I have a more fixed or more growth mindset? And you're going to be honest with yourself, because that's how we grow. And maybe you have some characteristics of a growth mindset. Maybe you have some characteristics of a fixed mindset. So we'll get into all that, what that means. We're going to talk about misconceptions connected to having a fixed mindset. And we're going to talk about how to start shifting your mindset to be more growth oriented. So I claimed at the beginning of this that I believe a growth mindset is all you need to be successful. And I feel like that's a big statement. How could success be only determined by having a growth mindset? Really, I mean, successful people don't give up, right? Successful people are not people who have never seen failure. And I think that's actually a big misconception. Maybe we'll start there and find other misconceptions later. But when you look at someone who is so successful, the chances that they were successful on the first try is quite slim. And I think we get used to seeing successful people and thinking that they were just overnight success and that they didn't really persevere through any challenges, right? And that's not true, okay? Actually, a great example in the media right now is Chappell Roan. She is blowing up. She is one of the top pop princesses, and she has this incredible 10-year story. She got signed, and then she got dropped by a record label. She didn't give up. She kept writing music. She had to move back home and work because she couldn't support herself in LA. And I could be getting a lot of these details a little wishy-washy. But she has an incredible story of perseverance, incredible story of continuous growth. And someone with a fixed mindset would not have persevered. And this is just one example of someone who we would look at and say has reached success. If she had had a fixed mindset, she would have avoided challenges. She would have refused to keep going, right? She would have said, okay, I tried and I failed and that's it. So I think having a growth mindset is really this secret sauce to perseverance, to resilience, and essentially, if you keep working on yourself, you keep working on your craft, whatever it is that you want to be successful in, again, depending on your definition of success, but if you keep working at that, then you will eventually reach success. If you have such a pure intention to do X thing or to be successful in X way, and you have this deep intention to make it happen, eventually it will happen. I believe that. Okay, so I guess that's kind of my long-winded intro blur. Even Sabrina Carpenter, okay, she's been around the block for a long time, and she's finally blowing up and becoming this huge shining star, this pop sensation, but she's been making music for so long. So when you see someone super successful and you're like, wow, that person to me is the epitome of success, look them up, look up their backstory. Figure out where they came from, what kind of challenges they overcame, because that might inspire you. Okay, but let's look at a growth versus fixed mindset. Fixed mindset, You may avoid challenges, okay, because you don't want to fail. So you don't do anything that's overly challenging. You stay in your comfort zone where it's cushy and comfy and safe. I think a lot of these characteristics of fixed mindset have to do with safety and just not wanting to be vulnerable. However, if you have a growth mindset, you tend to see challenges as opportunities. I love being challenged, and I think that's a great quality to have because it's an opportunity to grow, it's an opportunity to learn something new. I don't want my life to just be status quo all the time, easy breezy. That would be boring. So try to view challenges as opportunities. Next one would be you refuse to receive criticism or feedback. This is a big one, and I think all of us likely struggle with this in some capacity because depending on the area, like if we're really working on something and then we get criticism about it or negative feedback, it can be so soul crushing to think like, that didn't hit in the way I wanted it to. But I think we shouldn't shy away from criticism. And also with this, you can't control everyone's opinion of you, so you shouldn't even try. But if you have a growth mindset, you actually embrace constructive feedback and you see it as a chance to improve. Okay. And something I really like about teaching is there's constant feedback. We give feedback to our students, they give feedback to us, we get feedback from our admin about how things are going. And it's a constant opportunity to grow and to learn. And feedback can be scary, but it's also important, and it's important not to shy away from it. Another big one with a fixed mindset, which is interesting, is you tend to focus on wanting to prove yourself. If you've ever felt like you needed to prove that you were smart enough or prove that you were good enough, prove that you could do something, this need to prove it actually comes from a place of fear. Because if you can't prove it, does it even matter? Does it even exist? Is it even worth it? So pay close attention next time you have this urge to kind of, prove something about yourself to anyone. And I think we can see this in a lot of different scenarios. Sometimes it's with friends, sometimes it's with meeting new people in work settings. We want to prove that we're good enough, that we're pretty enough, that we're happy enough, that we're smart enough. And the desire to prove it is actually this desire to get approval from others, when in reality, again, if you are sound and happy with yourself, you can actually almost drop this need to approve to others or be approved by others, because you know that the people who care about you will be there, and you know you're good enough without having to prove XYZ thing. So the opposite of needing to prove yourself and focusing on that is really just focusing on the process rather than the end result. And what I love about this point is life in general should be this journey, should be this process. It's not about getting from A to B. And I think when we have this desire to prove ourselves, it is about getting from A to B. And yet when we can focus on the process of, am I continuously improving? Am I getting 1% better every day? Am I making progress towards that goal? If you focus on the process, then there's constant growth, there's constant reflection, there's constant feedback to yourself even, and you're able to actually reflect and see how far you've come, which I think is so beautiful. Another characteristic of having a fixed mindset is feeling threatened by other people's success. This is an interesting one, and actually I found myself in a social situation recently where I met a woman who had seemingly a really cool life. Okay, and I'm listening to her talk and I'm thinking, oh my gosh, this woman is awesome. She's living like a great life. And I'll be honest, for some reason, I felt a little threatened. And I had to pull myself back and be like, oh, wait a second. Am I jealous of this girl? What is going on here? And I think it's funny because anytime you feel any kind of resistance towards other people, it's usually because of something inside yourself. And it's something going on, some sort of insecurity that you have. And this happens to all of us. I see myself as a pretty self-aware person, and I'm happy I caught myself because I had to take a step back and literally be like, okay, whoa, your success or your seeming success. Like, I just met her once. I don't really know her well. But your success can actually be inspiring to me. And that's a characteristic of a growth mindset, is you're actually inspired by success. You don't feel threatened. You don't feel like, oh, because they're successful, that means there's not enough space for me. But it means that you can actually take inspiration from someone else's confidence or success. You know what I think it was? Let's dive into this. She was super confident. She seemed super well-spoken, super confident. And I think that's something that I want people to see in me too. Oh, are we like digging into some layers right now? No, but I think like seeing her as confident as she was, it was really refreshing and awesome. But at the same time, I think I was like a bit taken aback to be like, whoa, this girl is so freaking confident. I want to feel that confident. And it wasn't in this way where I wanted to copy and be just like her. But I think, maybe that's something that I am always wanting to work on, is wanting to feel confident. And I think that's funny because as soon as you want to appear confident, you're like putting pressure on yourself. When like real confidence for me is just like this calm, cool, collected confidence that you just like know yourself. Anyways, that's kind of a whole other topic, but that's just a little bit about my situation. Another one of a fixed mindset is you have a really hard time accepting failures or mistakes. Okay, this is this huge one. When you fail at something, if you make a mistake and you can't admit it, if you can't admit that you were wrong, if you were the person in the group project who didn't do your part and then didn't own up to it, you have a fixed mindset, because the opposite of that is you learn and you grow from failures. Do you know how many times I have tried things that haven't worked out? Whether something online, whether in my business, whether, when I've been learning, I don't know, just anything. I have a story about this and why failure is actually really important for you. So I grew up playing soccer. This was like my sport, okay? I used to be a very competitive child, to a point where my parents never thought I would actually play organized sports, because I would just cry if someone took like the hockey puck from me. We're playing like street hockey when I was a kid. If my brother or someone took the ball from me, I would just stop and cry and be like a little brat about it, okay? So one day I tell my parents I wanted to play soccer, right? And they were like, okay, let's put you into it. Fast forward, loved it, okay? First love of my life was the game of soccer. I was super good. I picked up skills very fast. And honestly, I didn't fail at it at all, really. The first several years of playing soccer, I blossomed. It was like my passion. I loved it so much, okay? Fast forward a few years, I'm playing very competitively, and I end up getting cut from one of my teams. Okay, we had some new girls come in. I didn't really vibe with them. It wasn't really working. I stopped playing as well, and my coach cut me. And I had never experienced that kind of failure ever, okay? And it really freaking stung. I felt like the ground was being pulled from underneath me. I was embarrassed. I was frustrated. All of these are right fixed mindset kind of feelings. I couldn't handle it. Did I quit soccer? No. I did find another team, which ended up being great. But I think what's important is me realizing like, okay, I had never really failed in this sport before. So to be at the level I was and then to fail, it felt like a huge deal. Okay, so the point of the story is the more you fail, like fall fast and hard, because the more you fail, the more you learn to pick yourself back up. The easier picking yourself back up becomes. If I do something now and I go for it and I try something and it doesn't work, okay, let's pivot. Because I used to be so much more embarrassed, right? Or it'd be way harder to kind of come back from some sort of failure, right? But the more you fail, the more you get good at failing. And again, the more you learn and grow from it. So next time something doesn't go your way, choose to grow from it and don't give up. Don't let it defeat you, okay? You can be resilient, you can have a growth mindset, and this is what I mean, where if I didn't come back from that, if I had quit soccer because of that one coach, can you imagine? I can't imagine. So I'm happy I didn't quit, but I think it's important to recognize that you can keep going. You can get back up, you can keep going. If someone else, tries to bring you down, bye. Thanks for coming. That's not your person. So just let them go on their merry way. Okay, you focus on you focus on your goal. You got this. I believe in you. Just saying. Okay, I'm gonna give one more. Ooh. You tend to shy away from unfamiliar things. I think this has to do a lot with personality too, is like some people just like the status quo and some people are happy in what is comfortable to them. But if like opportunities come up and you say no because it's unfamiliar to you, then you're kind of always sticking into this safety net, right? This zone that's comfortable. So the opposite of that, having a growth mindset, is you're willing and you actively look to step out of your comfort zone. Stepping out of my comfort zone is actually something that I love doing now, and I try to challenge myself all the time to do things that scare me because I just think it's healthy. And again, you can learn, you can grow, you experience more out of life. I don't want my life to be boring. So there's a couple articles I looked up talking about growth mindset, and one of them shared that individuals with a growth mindset will be more oriented towards self-improvement and are more likely to persist in the face of challenges and failure. They treat obstacles as opportunities to grow rather than signs of their abilities being inadequate. And this is kind of leading us into our misconceptions. Okay, so the first misconception, I think, has to do with talent. A fixed mindset is looking at talent like you either got it or you don't. You're either born with something, born with a talent, or you're not, right? And okay, do some people have natural abilities? Absolutely. We cannot deny that some people have just natural gifts of whether that is a sport, whether that is singing, right? Ariana Grande, she has a beautiful stinking voice. She's been singing since she was super young. Okay, so clearly that's like a natural talent of hers. But we shouldn't discount that the work you put into something leads to improvement and achievement. Sometimes the most talented people are not the most successful. Why? Because the most successful people are the ones with grit. They're willing to put the work in. They're willing to dig through the trenches, right? Why do athletes have coaches? Why do they have to go to practice? Because even if they're naturally talented, they need to practice in order to get better, right? No successful person just wakes up and does it without any sort of effort, okay? Maybe that happens 1 in a million. I don't know. That's not a real statistic. But, look at any athlete and look at the amount of hours that they put into their sport, their craft. Someone who is a really talented woodworker, they don't just start chopping wood one day and create a masterpiece. They work at it. They learn the different techniques. They practice. And that is their passion, their craft, right? So this conception that like you're either good at it or you're not is really oriented towards a fixed mindset. If you want to do something, at least give yourself 6 months. 6 months to a year. Try it out. See if you can build the skill. Because I think, okay, yes, are some people naturally better athletically? Definitely. Okay, I've met some clumsy people in my day. Some clumsy people who maybe just don't have that natural movement to them. But if they work on it, they can improve their skills, right? And then you take someone who's naturally talented and you pair it with that hard work, dedication, growth-oriented mindset, and that's where we get these legendary people, okay? That's where Michael Jordan comes in. They put the work in, and that's why they are as good as they are. So if you're not willing to put the work in and you're just going to blame it on, I wasn't born with it, then, okay, can't help you. Fix your mindset. You can do it. You can do anything you set your mind to if that's truly what you want. But you got to work for it. Okay, let's move on. Misconception number 2. Someone with a fixed mindset is simply not motivated to improve. This is an interesting one. Have you ever met someone, or maybe you see a little bit of it? I need to slow down. Maybe you know someone, maybe you see a little bit of this in yourself, but the people who just aren't really motivated to improve, they're kind of like, yeah, whatever, it's okay. I'm not very good at this, and that's fine. So I don't think that it's not motivation necessarily, but a person with a fixed mindset, they may secretly to themselves actually want to improve. They want to learn, but it's their mindset that holds them back, right? It's that little voice in your head, your ego telling you, oh, well, you're not good at that, or you'll embarrass yourself, or you're going to make a fool of yourself. Like anytime that you've ever stopped yourself from doing something that you really wanted to do out of fear, that's not lack of motivation. That's literally your mindset stopping you. You're allowing your fear to take over. So having a growth mindset is being able to say, you know what? If I want to grow and improve, I can. And it doesn't mean I lack motivation. It just means I'm scared and I can push through that. I can persevere through this fear. And so this is why mindset is so important, and this is why I'm so passionate about it, is because believing in yourself, believing in your abilities will allow you to push through and to get yourself where you actually want to go. And I really believe that having a growth mindset is this determining factor of, will you give up? Will you stay unmotivated? Will you stay too afraid to go for it? Or will you push through, and will you grow and seek growth, right? It's all about seeking growth. Any failure, any awkward situation, any weird encounter, you ask somebody out. You want to put yourself out there and ask someone out. Then you don't do it because you're scared of getting rejected. Guess what? There could be rejection. I'm not saying it's going to be perfect, but guess what? You can grow and learn from that if that's your goal. And I think our goal should always be towards growth as a person, no matter what. Even I look back when I started this podcast to now, we're in some flow today. I think this is a great episode. I hope you agree. But I wasn't always this good at podcasting, right? It's a skill that I've kind of developed because I've been practicing it for a year and a half. I'm very comfortable doing this now. At first, it was kind of scary to be like, ooh, I'm starting a podcast. I'm going to post about it, But now I'm like, yeah, I have a podcast. Slay. If you think that's weird, I don't care. Like, you know what I mean? But I think just your mindset is so important. So let's move on. The last misconception I want to share is that failure is a reflection of your intelligence or ability. If you fail and you immediately beat yourself up, you immediately say, oh, I was too stupid to do that. I didn't pass that exam. I'm so dumb. If you're saying this to yourself, ooh, I couldn't do the triple axel. I suck. I'm a terrible figure skater because I didn't land that triple axel. If you're doing a triple axel, you're probably pretty dang good, just saying. Failure is not a reflection of your intelligence. Failure is not a reflection of your ability. Failure is an unavoidable part of life. Say it with me. Say it with me. Failure is an unavoidable part of life. Everybody fails. Everybody and their mother, sorry mom, everybody fails. It's unavoidable. It's how you respond to the failure. It's not a reflection of you. It's not a reflection of your intelligence. And guess what? If you decide to allow it to be an excuse, oh, I failed, I'll never try again, then I feel really bad for you. I do. And I hope you work on that, because I totally 100% believe that if you fix your mindset, work on learning from failure. I'm not saying you should ignore it and pretend it didn't happen. No, you need to reflect. Okay, well, what didn't work? Why didn't this work out? What did I do Or what could I have done differently? And that's how you grow. That's how you move forward. If you can learn from a failure, not beat yourself up, and get back on the horse, you're set. You're set. I believe it. You're absolutely set. Because you're growing. That's a sign you're growing. You're improving. I'm so passionate about this right now. Okay. So shift your mindset. A growth mindset is literally all you need. All right. I feel like this episode's getting pretty long. So I have one quick side note, and then I want to give you 4 little steps to start working towards having more of a growth mindset. Okay. My first side note is to not forget that success is relative. Focus on your progress. Someone might look at you and think you are doing great in relation to where they are, even though you may feel behind. So don't compare yourself to others. Don't forget that success is relative. I might look at you and be like, whoa, she is so successful, but do I actually even really know where you are in relation to your goals? No. So keep going. Focus on progress. It's not a destination. It's not about getting from A to B. I think I already said that. Define success for your own self and don't worry about what other people are doing, thinking, seeing. Just keep showing up. You got this, okay? I'm gonna give you 4 steps that you can start doing today to start shifting that mindset. Okay? Step 1. We're going to start with our thoughts. Monitor them. Okay? Go listen to my previous episode about presence and how to observe your thoughts. I'll leave it somewhere up here. But observe the thoughts you're habitually thinking, because that builds self-awareness to know where you're getting stuck, where your mindset is stopping you from moving forward. Number 2, start to actively shift those thoughts. You can reframe them from a fixed phrase to a more growth-oriented phrase. So for example, if you have a job interview and you don't get the job, instead of telling yourself, if you notice you're like, oh, I freaking suck for not getting that job. I did terrible in that interview. I'm so stupid. Okay, let's reframe that. That didn't go the way I expected, but what can I do to improve next time? Or what can I learn from this job interview experience? How can I get better next time? You're not telling yourself how terrible you are, because you're not. You're focused, you're ready for the next thing. Okay, that didn't work out. Let's pivot. Let's move on to what will serve you, which is just focusing on growth. The third thing that I want you to do is the next time you are about to say no to something, just because you're scared, I want you to go for it. Tap into that intuition, okay? Is your heart saying yes, you should do it? And then you're like, no, I'm scared. I can't. Oh my gosh, no. I want you to say yes. If you're excited in any capacity, expand your comfort zone. You can do it, okay? You're going to see that you survived, okay? Unless it's like jumping off of a cliff or doing something that's scary and dangerous, then don't do it. But if an opportunity comes your way and you want to go for it, but you're like, you're starting to tell yourself you can't and all those fixed mindset things, I want you to go for it. And I want you to tell yourself, reframe that stinking brain of yours and tell yourself, yes, I can. And number 4 is to start embracing feedback. Take feedback with openness. It is okay to have things to improve on. Constructive criticism can help you grow if you let it. Okay, this could be something that happens in a friendship. This could be at work. This could be in sports. We don't like to hear that we're not very good. We're going to accept feedback with an openness. I want you to just try. Keep your heart open. And sometimes feedback will come in a way that's really mean and aggressive and negative. And I don't think that that's right either. So I hope the feedback we're getting is constructive, but try to take it with an openness. Don't let yourself get defensive. But a growth mindset is literally everything. I could go on and on. I literally could go on and on. But I'm going to shut up now. Go click the link below, mindsetmatterswithvic.com. Check out my work. I want to help you get unstuck. I want to help you discover your passions. And I want to help you take the right steps forward to creating the dream life that you've been thinking about. Maybe there's something in your heart that you really, really want. Either you know it or you don't know it, but something is there. If you're feeling stuck, if you're feeling unsure, if you don't know how to move forward, click the link, go look at my website. I want to work with you. I want to help you get back on the horse and start making positive change towards your dream life. So let's work together. Love that for us. I will see you next week. Bye.